didn't know I was a neighborhood nuisance. I really had like these visions of being the next Kenny G. Like I was gonna learn the saxophone. I was in 9th grade.
Right.
It was awful.
Oh no,
It was. I abandoned that after just one very short year and realized I needed to probably just stick to the piano.
Oh my.
So. So excited to have my mom with me here today, and I'm going to ask her a few questions about our involvement in music things and her personal background in music. So you guys have all seen my dad play the piano on some things, but you don't hear much from my mom, and she's got some stuff to tell about having to listen to all of us kids learn the various instruments that we did. So Mom, first of all, tell us a little bit about your individual background in music.
Well, I sang with some girls at church when I was younger. And then I sang with my mom and dad as a teenager up until the time I got married.
Okay. And Mama and Papa both sing.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Harmony, and is that where you kind of learn?
Mom is a great alto and soprano. Dad is a great lead and a tenor. Very good. Very good.
So did you grow up like singing harmony and learning to hear those different parts?
Yes. And I used to, when I was a kid, when I would fold laundry, I would listen to the Andrews Sisters on a record player. And I would sing all of their parts at a time. I would listen to it one time and sing the alto, then I'd sing the tenor, then I'd sing the soprano. And the Rambos, and those two, I guess, were my favorite.
I remember in the car as kids, we'd be listening to music. So it could be like gospel music. A lot of time we listened to Bible Broadcasting Network, BBN. You love that radio station.
Yes,
and Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir.
Yes.
And Mom would tell us to sing different harmony parts. And she'd say, okay, sing the one underneath. And I think that's kind of how us kids learned to harmonize.
That's right. I think so. We would sing like a phrase. And say, for instance, you would sing the soprano on the first phrase. Then I'd say, now the next phrase, switch to alto. And we'd all switch, and we just keep switching. And it was just a fun game.
It was fun
to play.
Now, did you ever take piano lessons?
I did for a couple years. Poor man. He would say his full-time job was a postman. He'd say, "What do you want to learn this week?" And I took the Redback hymnal, and I'd say, "Well, I would find songs that were in E flat. For some reason, I had learned to play in E flat. And I would say, let's learn this one. And he'd say, okay. He'd say, do you know it? And I'd say, no, I need you to play it for me so I can hear it. And he'd say, okay, I'll be glad to. And he would play it, and I would go away and play because I had an ear for music. And I never really did learn music. I just would play it the way he had played it. And the next week, what else? What do you want to learn this week? And I'd say, how about this one? It was also in E flat. So I never learned any other key. And he never caught on that I just played in E flat and that I was listening to him. So I never learned notes. I really didn't.
But you have an amazing ear because like teaching us to sing harmony, but then you being able to listen to him play and then go home and practice it. I don't know that I could have done that. Like if I hadn't have had a teacher who was very strict.
Right.
So, and speaking of a strict teacher, you really sat with us kids and practiced when we were first learning.
I did. The first couple years, I would sit beside you on the bench. After 2 years, though, y'all were past me. Mm-hmm. And I learned more about notes by sitting with you all the first couple years. Mm-hmm. And I would sit there. I know your teacher had a 6-hour club. Mm-hmm. And so we tried to practice 6 hours a week. I didn't let you all see the clock, but I watched the clock. And I would sit there and let's do this. It was like the Black Crows, and
yes.
that sort of. And we would sit there until y'all would start rubbing your back or, yawning or whatever. And then I knew you were getting tired. And many times it was well over an hour, each of y'all. It was just fun, and it was just y'all and me on the bench, and it was just a fun time. It really was.
So if a parent has a young child and they're in the throes of that practice time and trying to get this consistent, what can you tell them just to encourage them in that stage?
Well, depends on how young. When they're first starting out, like the first couple years, they need mom's help. And always make it fun. Don't let them see that, oh, you dread this, you really don't have time for this today, but let them see how fun it is, and they'll pick up on that, and it'll be fun for them too. But after a while, it's up to them. I remember y'all, after your couple years and y'all had passed me up, you'd go, come sit with me on the piano. You wanted me to come, and I really didn't know. Y'all had passed me, so I didn't know. Plus, there was 4 of y'all.
Yeah.
It wasn't any longer just 1 or 2, and so I couldn't spend that much time with each of you on the bench. But it was your responsibility to do it then.
Yeah. The only part I remember dreading was that mat, that plastic mat that had all the piano keys.
Yes.
And you'd cover my hands with it.
Yes.
So if I looked down, I couldn't see my hands.
That was torture.
Oh, it was horrible. Like you'd unroll that mat, fling it over. Oh, it was terrible. So after a few years, I remember we all learned on that Kohler and Campbell piano, the brown one.
That's right.
How did y'all get that piano?
We got it as a wedding gift from a family at our church. They just gave it to us because my husband played the piano, and for years since he was a child, and we didn't have one. So they just gave it to us. They said the Lord put it on their heart and gave it to us.
And that piano is now at my brother's house. So we've kept it in the family, and I think for sentimental reasons, if he ever tries to get rid of it, I will adopt it right back.
Yes.
But when I was in 5th grade, I remember I was at school, and it was after school, and y'all picked us up, and you said, there's a major surprise waiting for you when you get home.
That's right.
We had no idea what it was. I thought it might be a swimming pool. I don't know why I thought that.
Yeah.
But when we got home, it was the Yamaha C3 that you guys have seen on some other videos.
That's right.
That grand piano, I think, kind of, like, it made it, I remember us kind of almost fighting over who got to practice on the grand.
Y'all would, on the way home from school, y'all would say, I get the grand piano. And I'd say, it's whoever gets in there first, and y'all would make a beeline to grab your books and get on the piano. And many times, 2 of y'all sat on the seat at the same time, trying to beat the other ones,
Yeah.
So it was great.
Well, Adam and I had this thing for a while where when each of us got a new song, he'd say, come here, I don't know what this song sounds like, so you play the left hand and I'll play the right hand, so we could kind of like hear exactly what the song was going to sound like by only reading one hand at a time to help each other out. So we did duets all the time, but I mean all of us kids did. But so all 4 of us took piano at the same time for years.
Yes.
And then we started adding on other instruments.
That's right. It was not, you didn't have a choice whether to take piano lessons or not. It was very important to my husband, your daddy and I, that all of you take piano. It would help you in your schoolwork. It helped you academically. It helped you see that everything cannot be accomplished immediately. Some things you have to work at to, get it just really great. And so it was good in every area of life. And so you didn't have a choice. You had to take piano. But later you could choose your own instrument, and all of you chose more than one instrument. And many times you'd take a different instrument a year.
Yeah. Well, I remember the saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was fine, but tell everyone what you made me do when I was learning the saxophone.
Well, you had braces at the time, which we didn't know that is not really good at learning the saxophone.
It was awful.
So it was just a terrible sound. But we didn't say that to you. We just said, yeah, that's great. And, I need you to practice on the porch today because, other ones are playing instruments and that'd be a good thing. Just go to the porch and play. And we actually had a neighbor come up and say, listen, I'm just going to tell you, I can handle that piano going on. I can handle it. Because many times we left the door open and the screen, we had the screen door, she said, but that horn has got to go. I just can't handle that horn. So,
I didn't know I was a neighborhood nuisance. I really had like these visions of being the next Kenny G. Like I was going to learn the saxophone. I was in 9th grade.
Right.
It was awful.
Oh, no.
I abandoned that after just one very short year and realized I needed to probably just stick to the piano.
Oh, my.
So, and tell everybody, what is a headphone song?
A headphone song is, I don't encourage it when when y'all were young, because I couldn't hear what you were playing. And so, but when you were much older and it was harder and it was rough song learning, and when there was other instruments going on at the same time, many times I would say, that one would be a great one to play on the keyboard with your headphones. And okay. You had no idea that I was just losing my mind at times.
So my grandmother got us a Clavinova keyboard that we put downstairs. So our home was 2 stories, and the grand was upstairs, and then we moved the Kohler and Campbell downstairs, and then that keyboard was also downstairs. So most years, after about 6th or 7th grade, we had 3 pianos in our house.
That's right.
And there were songs that I remember you just saying that had to be with headphones.
Yes.
And particularly, I had to learn Gardens in the Rain by Debussy. And that song has just an unbelievable number of 16th notes. And that was one that was like, I think that'd be better with the headphones. So it was a little bit rough to hear.
That's right. But you had no idea.
No.
I didn't want to say anything that would discourage you or think that it was painful for your own mama to listen to.
Oh, y'all had so many times, just Saturdays, especially in the spring, competition after competition, taking us to MTA and the Federation and Guild and all the different things that our teacher had us involved in. And
it made a difference. It made a difference.
So you convinced me that you loved it and that part of it was so fun. And I think that's why we enjoyed it too, even though it was a lot of hard work.
That's right.
So.
Well, we knew it would pay off in the end, and it would just last a short time. So
I think that's something that parents of children learning instruments, if you think about it, you're investing in something that you're not going to see fruit from for possibly years, because those early years of learning an instrument, I remember us all, I think half of us tried the violin.
Yes.
I took 2 years of violin, but I wasn't very good. But there's the years of the screechy tones and just the constant just banging out those notes on the piano or whatever instrument. And you guys really had to just believe that years down the road, this is going to sound good.
That's right. That's right. And it just helped you in all other areas of life, too. So.
Discipline.
It's important. Yes.
Wow. Well, thank you for sticking it out and for
You're welcome.
Helping us develop that, because I remember those years in middle school when I just was really ready to quit, because most of my friends that had taken lessons were now quitting and they weren't going to continue it into high school, and I thought I needed to quit too. And you guys really took that vision for those few years where I didn't really see it and said, just push on through. Then about 14 was when I thought, okay, I'm going to stick with this.
Well, I'd never heard an adult say, I wish my parents had not made me take piano. I always heard adults say, I wish my parents had made me take piano or made me finish. I wish they hadn't let me quit. So that was in the back of my mind. I wish I had not quit. And I was just determined that was not going to be a regret of you four. And y'all have all been such a blessing to us with your music, all of you. So.
Well, praise the Lord. Thank you, Mom.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you being on here with me.
You're welcome.
It's nice for everybody to hear a little bit of behind the scenes of how we ended up where we are today. Because if you watch a video now of me playing, or you see my dad playing, or any of our family doing music things, there's a lot of those years that you don't know about. So I wanted my mom, and I'll have my dad come on here at some point too, and just talk about more of where that all came from. So thank you for joining us.